So the feudal king was really tough on all the people who were doing labor for him to, like, whatever it was, dig for precious metals or grow the crops or whatever everyone was doing. He was tough on them, and he was kind of like a slave driver, right? Pushing all these people of that particular area that he ruled over, pushing them so hard that a lot of them even died or really had a lot of trauma. And so then, and he didn't feel for them. He didn't understand how they were feeling. He just thought, oh, well, we need to be efficient about this, and we need to push them so that we can become economically strong. Well, then what happened? In the next lifetime, this king gets incarnated as a donkey. And the donkey gets whipped as they're trying to push the donkey to carry heavy, because if you've been to India, they oftentimes carry bricks, right? And if the donkey is not moving fast enough, they whip them. And I've seen it, and I've also seen it, and this really broke my heart, but like there would be kids that would throw stones at the donkeys as if the donkey doesn't have any feelings. And I remember sitting across the river and watching helplessly as the kids would throw rocks at the donkey, and I was crying for the donkey. And so, but when I heard the story of the man, of the feudal king who got incarnated as a donkey, then, and how he was so brutalized and so sort of enslaved where people didn't care about his feelings, that there was a sage that was coming by in the market, this is in India, and sees the donkey, and the donkey's crying, literally, like tears are streaming down his face because he's suffering so much. And the sage looks at him in the eye, and the donkey looks at the sage in the eye, and the sage says, don't worry, in the next lifetime, you will have a better life. You will be incarnated back into a human, and you have an opportunity to then grow and open your heart. And then when he got this message, the donkey was so uplifted. And of course that made his whole life. That one statement from a sage that was saying everything's going to be okay, you'll be incarnated as a human in the next lifetime, and you'll keep growing, and it'll be a better lifetime. That one thing that the sage said uplifted him and affected his psyche for the rest of his incarnation, right? Because the sage sees through the donkey and why the donkey is suffering and what he had to go through, why he had to go through it. The sage saw it, but the donkey is just wondering, why am I being beaten with a whip and carrying heavy stuff? I don't understand. He feels like helpless. Why have I been put into this circumstance? The donkey's hurting so much because he doesn't know, because like Josh said, he's at the bottom of the valley. So I would say that's the case with most I would say all humans who are going through great suffering, is most of them do not know that they're at the bottom of the valley, and they can't see their karma, they can't see why they got into that position and how they're actually working off the karmic repercussions that they're experiencing in this lifetime. If you get that, you go, oh, now the suffering that I'm going through is meant to be so I can clear this karma, so I can keep ascending, I can keep growing on my spiritual path. I didn't know before. Now that I understand, I will go through this suffering, and I will be able to handle it nobly and graciously. Right? Just that simple understanding. Otherwise, it becomes a victim. It becomes a victim. Oh, I'm a victim of the world. Why did God put me in this situation? That's another big thing. We sort of blame God and say, God, why did you do this to me? Why did you make my life so hard? And then we end up projecting onto this idea of God, and then we lose our, oftentimes, spiritual or religious connection to God. We don't feel as close of a communion with God because we think that God has whipped us, has put us into a harsh circumstance, and why would God be so cruel?